Good morning, Bear Nation. Taylor Swift is a dude. Great name. Great name. Good morning, everybody. Happy Memorial Day. For those that are unaware, Memorial Day is different than Veterans Day. On Veterans Day, we commemorate and praise the sacrifices of all veterans. On Memorial Day, we commemorate and praise those veterans who we have lost. And I believe we do that by honoring their memory, by not necessarily mourning their loss, but remembering their life and the contribution that they've made, and by living the type of lives that are honorable to the sacrifice that was made on our behalf, by being good Americans, by remembering and upholding our Constitution, and by making sure that we protect ourselves and our loved ones and our country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And so, happy Memorial Day, and to anybody who's ever lost somebody in the line of service, my heart goes out to you. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you all for being here. 88,000 plus people is insane, and I'm really, truly thankful for y'all. This report, the entirety of, and this is a big report today, so we're going to cruise. The entirety of this report is available on Patreon, patreon.com. You can just go there and search for Bear Independent, and you'll find us. Look for the bear logo. If you have intel you would like to share with us, intel at bearindependent.com. That's how this report is put together. Y'all send us your tasty intel nuggets. The dance monkeys, I let them out of their cages, slip the lock just momentarily, let them frolic around with these animal cracker shaped intel nuggets that you send them. They nom on them, spit out a report, it comes to me. I put my own words and thoughts and feels on this page and bring it to you. This does post essentially 12 to 18 hours ahead on Patreon, and then we come here and do it live on YouTube. So, intel at bearindependent.com. I'm specifically interested to hear from people around the world. I know that we have people in the Bear Nation in Chile, which is experiencing rioting right now. I'd love to hear from you. People in Russia, people in Australia. Essentially, we're getting a decent picture as to what's going on inside the United States. I'd like to continue to hear what's going on outside of the United States. And also, many thanks to all the law enforcement officers and peace officers who have written in to share testimony with us as to what they're seeing and experiencing and being asked to do. Greatly appreciate you. And so if you are a law enforcement officer or peace officer and would like to write in as well, intel at bearindependent.com. Now, Bear Independent Intel Report 25 May, Memorial Day 2020. Overview. COVID-19 cases continue to climb around the world. Global cases are now pushing 5.5 million cases, with 2,826,000 of those active. Global deaths are 345,000. Global recoveries are about 2.3 million, just shy of 2.3 million. So, yeah. Yeah, it's something. U.S. cases are 1,673,000 with 1,125,000 active cases. 1 and 1/8 million. Yes, that's right. Decimals to fractions. Hashtag science. Math. Geography. Geometry? I don't know. U.S. deaths are 98,830. U.S. recoveries are 448,959. Overview. The U.S. is considering conducting nuclear test explosions after Russia and China were accused of performing low-yield nuclear tests, which they have denied. Shall we? If we do, we're not going to be able to cruise. But war, China, government, and other. Yeah, that's right. The threat matrix. She's back. The U.S. Commerce Department will be adding 33 Chinese institutions and firms to its blacklist due to ties to weapons of mass destruction, the country's military, and internal espionage targeting minorities. Lovely. The U.S. will be withdrawing from the Open Skies Treaty in 6 months if Russia does not, quote, return to full compliance with the treaty, end quote. Beijing has censored BBC World Service News as soon as the reporter mentioned Hong Kong's new national security law, which will ban, quote, treason, secession, sedition, and subversion, end quote. Mass protests are expected in response to these moves against Hong Kong's autonomy. War. How about some more war? And if you like civil unrest, there's some. China has accused the U.S. of spreading conspiracies, and the foreign minister has said that some U.S. political forces are trying to, quote, push our two countries to the brink of a new Cold War, end quote. Getting full already. And unemployment has increased again to a new total of 38.6 million. So we see that the war footing with China is continuing to be built. A Cold War. We're kind of already in a Cold War with China. One could easily argue that we've essentially been in a Cold War with China since the beginning of the Trump presidency, if not earlier than that. Is a Cold War preferable to a hot war with China? I'm going to just go ahead and say, yeah, absolutely. I do not think that war is the preferable outcome with China. I just think that it's the outcome we're going to get. Based upon everything that we're seeing. And so that, eyes wide open, what can we do? We've talked about this. This channel is called Bear Independent for a reason. Be independent of the system. If the system is going to be engaged in warfare with China, well, plant a damn freedom garden or, freedom from the system garden, right? Have some backyard chickens. Well, Bear, I can't do that in Dallas. Well, why are you in Dallas, dummy? Well, that's where my job is. Jobs are everywhere. Well, it's easy for you to say, no, it's not. But I did move from Dallas to the middle of nowhere. And guess what? We have not starved to death yet. We're doing just fine. So how much do you value these different things? Do you like the convenience of being able to hop in your car and go to Whataburger with a 3-minute drive? Or do you like the convenience of not being consumed by an international global conflict of biblical proportions? You pick, okay? You pick. So start working again to become more independent of the system. That's the entirety of this idea here is food independence, independence from the system, security, communications, networking with people, developing meaningful relationships, being able to produce and store your own water, produce and store your own food, so forth and so on, and being away from primary tactical and strategic targets if there's a global conflict. We had a question recently on Patreon. It's like, what do I do if I have to shelter in place in Northern Virginia? Man, step one, don't shelter in place in Northern Virginia. Like, that place is not where I want to be when bombs start dropping. Will bombs start dropping? Probably not at this point. And I hope to God the answer is no. But if they do, if you're in East Overshoe, Indiana, you have a much lower likelihood of having a bomb land on your forehead than if you're in Chicago or Dallas or Detroit or LA or New York or whatever. You see the point here? Roger. 2 or more eyewitness accounts repeating, we continue to receive reports that the meat shortage has reached new areas. Missing menu items, doubled prices, and spare shelves in stores and rationing. Note, one viewer did say that prices and availability are still normal in his area. I'm happy to report in our local Walmart, the meat cases recently were full, and the pricing was reasonable. A little higher than pre-COVID, but not unreasonable. Now, praise the Most High, our freezers are full and our fields are full. So we're not buying meat right now, but intel gathering. Pricing looked reasonable. Repeat contact tracing programs are beginning around the country. So, but hold on here. We've got continuity of infrastructure, meat shortage. So that's food shortage, the system. Contact tracing programs are beginning across the country. Officials have stated that participation is voluntary, but many are concerned about the violation of privacy that could result from such intense government oversight. Let's go with tyranny right here. I like that. Not really. I don't like it. Officials have determined that the U.S. bulk power system is a point of vulnerability. We've talked about this ad nauseum. Grid down. Long-term grid down is devastating. The entirety of modern American human existence is predicated on the successful flow of electrons. I can't preach it any harder to you than that. You need to have a way to either exist without the flow of electrons or make your own electrons flow. One or the other. Preferably both. In Bonners Ferry, Idaho, public restrooms were closed due to the pandemic. Due to some rather creative forms of protest, it is now illegal to relieve oneself on public property. I dig that. We'll go with a little of that. A judge recently ruled that the FBI cannot even look at a suspect's phone lock screen without a warrant. Good. Meanwhile, the Senate voted to allow the FBI to access your browsing and search history without a warrant. Not good. How about some of this right here? Alaska has fully reopened. Of all the states that had previously imposed restrictions, it is the first to do so. Social distancing guidelines still apply, but 100% capacity is allowed, and no businesses are discriminated against. Michigan's legislature's lawsuit against Governor Whitmer has been dismissed by the judge. That is some horse pucky. Tyranny, you will get civil unrest out of that. You have had people in plate carriers with ARs storm the Capitol in Michigan 3 times. They're asking for armed conflict. I don't understand why the governor can't just, well, I mean, I do understand because the governor doesn't work for the people. The governor works for the reptilian overlords or whatever, not the people. The people have had enough of this horse shit. They're over it. If you continue to poke the bear will wake up and rip your face off. I don't want that to happen. But man, if you keep doing this, don't act surprised when the bear wakes up and rips your face off and then casually sits down, disembowels you, and is nomming on your liver. What should we do next? I don't know. Let's go pick some salmon out of the stream and eat that stuff. It's awesome. Oh, look, berries. You know what's fun? Sleeping in a hollow cave all winter. This is awesome. And people are going to act surprised if this happens when they shouldn't be. This is months in the making, and it's the constancy of Michigan's state government doubling down over and over and over again. It's go, oh, you want freedom? No. You want freedom? No. Here's some more no freedom over and over and over again. People are going to lose their damn minds. And this is going to be made out to be some ridiculous thing. Some rogue bad actors that just happened. No. A Michigan judge has denied the state's request to shut down a 77-year-old barbershop, saying the threat posed to public health and safety must be actual and not theoretical. That's good. The request to shut down the barbershop was denied. That's good. The guy that runs it, or girl that runs it, it doesn't say, is a 77-year-old person. The threat posed to public health and safety must be actual and not theoretical. Agreed. Michigan, get your poop in a group. Repeating, medical. Clinicians suspect COVID-19 may cause other more longer-lasting issues than previously expected. More waves of the outbreak. are expected as restrictions lift. This is reportedly already happening in China. The virus is weakening as it mutates, so they say. Repeating, the CDC has now said that the virus does not spread easily from surface contact. Some scientists have also said that the asymptomatic spread is not a validated phenomenon, while others argue that it is. We don't know. See, that's one of the biggest things with this virus is we don't know. And so you have a lot of people who are taking stabs in the dark with this. Our best guess is, and those best guesses turn out to be wrong. And as a result, we've shut down the entire world's economy rather than just letting freedom do its job, letting us do our jobs. Well, you could be infecting other people. Could I? Well, it turns out now that apparently this stuff can't live on hard surfaces for very long, and asymptomatic transmission might just be a whole bunch of total horsepucky. But you know what? Let's just crash the worldwide economy. Great idea. Husa. Researchers are researching how long the virus may remain stable on raw meat products, though the World Health Organization stated that COVID-19 cannot be spread through food or packaging. The World Health Organization also stated that it could not be spread by human-to-human transmission, and then recanted that statement, and also essentially said that you didn't need to wear masks, then decided everybody needed to wear masks. And so the World Health Organization can pound a whole bunch of sand, as far as I'm concerned. So this, once again, this is more disinformation over here, and this is also food shortage. A human-mouse chimera has the most human cells ever recorded in an animal. Scientists say the ability for human cells to generate in mouse embryos has great potential for treating human diseases, possibly even COVID-19. Bears say that that's a bunch of abominational horse crap, and I don't want that thing anywhere near me. And if I see one of those things, I'm going to shoot it in the face with buckshot, and you are in no way putting any of that inside of this. Okay? Okay. Disgusting. Well, Bear, that's how we advance science. Good. Y'all advance science over there. I'm going to be over here not injecting human-mouse hybrids into my bloodstream. Roger? Cool. A letter signed by more than 600 doctors urges Trump to end the lockdown in the U.S. Good! Pointing out that people are missing appointments that would detect and prevent serious life-threatening conditions, such as cancer and heart disease. According to the letter, the suicide hotline phone calls have increased by 600%. The cure is worse than the disease, y'all. This is what we've been talking about for a long time. The cure is worse than the disease. And that fuels the fire for the arguments that, see, this is all being done on purpose, because how do you destroy Trump in the 2020 elections? You take away the one thing that he's got going for him, the economy. And then when this happens and they take that vaccine that's got RFID chips in it and it's got mouse-human hybrid embryos in there and they inject it in you, then that turns into the mark of the beast, and then the reptilian overlords can come out of the center of the flat earth that's somehow in Antarctica with a hole that goes down into the center of it where the Nephilim live, and then they're going to just depopulate the entire planet. It's like, guys, shut the hell up. But this is what feeds that. Husa. Repeating. Hurricane season is due to begin 1 June. Some municipalities in the country have announced that they have run out of money for storm cleanup due to the economic crisis. That's an interesting word. System. Civilians. Due to the economic crisis, or that they are not opening certain shelters due to the virus concerns. Rome's burning. Roger that. Have your emergency plan in place, revised to account for today's special circumstances in your area. Repeating, food prices are up and food banks are seeing very long lines around the country. Crime is on the rise, and protests, civil disobedience, and lawsuits continue. Why not? Hertz, the car company, has declared bankruptcy. Bath & Body Works is closing 50 stores, and more than 100,000 small businesses have collapsed under the strain. As previously reported, one poll of American small business owners showed that 52% of these small businesses that were polled forecasted that they would not be able to last 6 months under the new economic circumstances essentially created by the response to COVID-19. 100,000 small businesses have shut down because of this bullshit. When you are entrepreneurial, here's a prime example. We've talked about Nick and his gym. When you are entrepreneurial, you don't necessarily want to ask permission from somebody to go to work, to pay your bills, to generate revenue, to provide a product or service that creates value for people, that they voluntarily exchange time and money with you, and you use that to support the people that you love and grow the business so that you can prosper and bless others. Why do I need government permission to do this? That type of person, one could easily make the argument, is being directly targeted by this response to COVID-19. As I've stated before, Jeff Bezos will still have a retirement account when this whole thing is done. Many small business owners in America and around the world will not. If you can support a small business, please do so with whatever you got. If you are paying your bills and paying down debt, and there is food in your pantry and food growing in your backyard, and you have some money left in your pocket, please support a small business. Ours or anybody else's, don't care, but support a small business, because small businesses, that revenue pays mortgage payments. It puts shoes on kids, it puts food in the pantry, right? It might actually be the thing that allows somebody to go to college or vocational school for the first time. It might allow somebody after a lifetime of labor to actually retire and just live a simple, quiet life away from everybody else. It's real. It's incredibly real. And this response to COVID-19 is murdering that American dream for hundreds of thousands of people right now. And so while you probably could get something cheaper and faster at Walmart or on Amazon or Target or Wish, whatever the hell that is, I would implore you to be wise with your revenue and seek out opportunities to distribute that revenue to people who desperately need it. Small businesses. Now, I'm going to tell you about a couple small businesses because it's my show. The first is adventurefrontier.com. If you're worried about the boogaloo and you need some armor, you can get it at adventurefrontier.com. You can use promo code BEARNATION. You get $10 off your order. He's got level 3 plus plates. He's got level 4 ceramic plates. He's got carriers. He's got all kinds of stuff. He's got blowout kits, including the Bear Fac and the Bear Minimum. You get all that stuff at adventurefrontier.com. Tell them Bear sent you. This is the Bear Fac, okay? This you can get at bearindependent.com. This is in Marpat woodland, marine pattern woodland, MOLLE capable, compatible, hand sewn, stitched by hand, made in America, guaranteed forever. If you break this, I'll send you another one. And we've gotten a few emails saying, hey Bear, when am I going to get my order? Well, it's stated there on the website, fulfillment is typically 3 to 5 weeks. That's what we're within 3 to 5 weeks right now, because these are handmade, made in America, okay? So the way this works is you put this on your kit, not here, this is a bad place for it, but imagine it's on your kit, right? And you get hit. Take a round. Reach, grab, pull. Right here at the very top, you've got your combat gauze. This is not included. It's available as an additional, okay? But you can put anything you want up here. Combat gauze, rolled gauze, compressed gauze, sea locks, SWAT tee, whatever floats your boat, man. Grab the handle, pull this out. Now you have your kit out where you can use it rather than lassoed to the side of your body with a little bungee cord. Pull this out where you can use it, pop the tab, there's your kit, okay? So back here in what we call the stack, you've got 2 high-fin chest seals, nasal pharyngeal airway, 2 5x9 combine pads, and a set of actual shears, not Chinesium bullcrap shears. 6-inch North American Rescue Emergency Trauma Dressing, nitrile gloves, 14-gauge decompression needle, actual, not some fake one from China. Duct tape, Gen 7 cat tourniquet. These do not come pre-staged because I want you guys to get them in the packaging so you can see, oh, they're brand new. Then take them out stage and put them back in here. And this should be your secondary tourniquet. You should have a primary tourniquet on you that you can reach with either hand, wherever, that if you need a tourniquet right now, you can get one right now. Secondary tourniquet in the kit. Understood? Understood. Moving along, down here, in this pouch down here, you have more quick clot. See that? More quick clot. Compressed gauze, triangle bandage, rolled gauze, more gauze pads, surgical tape, BZK wipes. I don't even remember what the hell else is in there, but it's a whole bunch of stuff. And this kit is made in America, guaranteed forever, with North American Rescue components that's available for $100 less than what Dark Angel Medical charges for their Chinesium kit of similar components. Made in America, guaranteed forever. Currently in use by different elements that are deployed in the sandbox right now. Some of these are running around in Afghanistan, being used by certain elements of the Marine Corps. Air Force pararescue men are running these. Lots of law enforcement are using these as their car kits right now. These kits have saved 5 lives that we know of. So they're legit, they're real. And hey, it didn't blow up and fall apart. They're awesome. And you don't necessarily have to get it in Marpat. They come in lots of colors. I like this red for schools, businesses, churches, banks, wherever. And what's cool about this is you can Velcro this to the wall by your door if you have an active shooter scenario, or if you need a blood control kit, bleeding control kit. You put this by the door, you run to the door, you lock the door, rip the kit off the wall and retreat to the blind corner of the room. Now you're holding a purpose-built trauma kit in your hands. If you need one, you got it. If you don't, stick it back to the wall, okay? So they come in lots of colors, including this red, which I really dig for civilian applications, and this is reflective. So you can find this in the dark, in a building that's on fire, whatever. It's awesome. Again, handmade, made in America, guaranteed forever, for $100 less than the crap that everybody else is selling. Roger? Roger. Moving right along. Awesome. We need coffee. Single accounts, insider intel, and miscellaneous. Oh, by the way, if you haven't watched the Hero Soap video here at the channel, you should scroll back a few videos and watch the Hero Soap video. I think you'll get a kick out of it. The federal government has made several expedited purchases of riot gear. I wonder what that's for. I find it incredibly easy to count beans in riot gear. That's why they got it. So let's go over here to civil unrest. Boom.gov. Several contributors have experienced cash rejections at various outlets due to contagion concerns. Let's see. That would be economic crisis right there. Labeling a death as COVID-19 could potentially be a way to avoid massive payouts and insurance company collapse, one viewer notes. Many life insurance companies are refusing to pay out to families whose family member dies of COVID-19. Well, that's a bunch of horse pucky. But that's a really good observation. And unfortunately, yet another tick mark for economic crisis. And another example of Rome burning. A former mount instructor who's trained Marines, Army, and law enforcement believes that the Westgate shooting was a terrorist operation due to localized power outage and the calm and practiced demeanor of the shooter. This is conjecture only. This is what one of our contributors has stated. It's a good hypothesis. Is it accurate? I don't know. But it's certainly something to chew on with your brain muscles. Civil unrest. Birmingham, Alabama. Police officers are ticketing doctors and nurses as they walk from their car to the door of the hospital for not wearing masks. The hospital policy is to not bring in your own mask so contamination cannot be brought in from outside. The hospital provides a new mask upon entry, but that's not keeping the law enforcement officers in Birmingham, Alabama from issuing citations for people as they walk from their car in the parking lot of the hospital to the door of the hospital where they work to get a new mask. Are you kidding me? Bullshit. In Gadsden, Alabama, nurses wearing scrubs have been attacked in local stores. The attackers claim that the nurses are spreading COVID-19. Guys, international. Protests continue internationally as those who are still ordered to stay at home are unable to sustain the economic pressure. The locust swarms that originated in East Africa are now affecting India, Pakistan, and Iran. Food shortage. Perfect, just what we need. Greece's armed forces have reported that Turkish soldiers and police have permanently occupied a piece of Greek territory along their border. It is not a massive presence, but it does show blatant disregard for Greek sovereignty. Riots are erupting in Chile. The people are hungry and desperate. Footage shows masses of people throwing rocks at military police in the streets. Debunking misinformation. The belief is that, quote, the government will be injecting tracing microchips into all of us with the vaccine that would presumably be forced. The reality is there is a potential for our RFID technology to be used during the vaccination process, but the RFID chip is attached to the syringe to be used by the nurse to rapidly and easily enter data about time and location of the vaccine. The technology of concern is not a chip being injected into the human body, but rather a chip on the syringe used to rapidly submit information about vaccine delivery. Currently, vaccination information is submitted through a lengthier computer process rather than a quick tap of a phone. Additionally, a real-time injection map could be created with the syringe-attached chip data. Belief: Trump is going to use the military to force vaccinations on us all. The reality is that during an interview with Fox, President Trump said he would rapidly mobilize the U.S. military to distribute a vaccine against the coronavirus as soon as it's ready, focusing first on the most vulnerable among the population, such as the elderly. All we know so far is that the military would be used to move products quickly rather than relying on the current faltering supply system. Belief: H.R. 6666 is a bill that will allow tracers to force you to be tested in your home. The reality is, when read carefully, the bill itself does not anywhere explicitly allow forcible testing of any kind. In fact, the bill authorizes the Secretary of Health and Human Services to award grants to entities capable of doing mobile testing. It's about legal permissions to enable the flow of money. Should all these things be things that we keep our eyes on? Yes, they should. Do we need to get out our tinfoil tricorn hats on these? Not yet. However, there's 3 check marks in disinformation for civilians. Actionable. Reach out and socially support others. Suicide is on the rise, even among children sequestered at home. Check on your people. Really, check on your people. Warning, identity theft is on the rise, especially for the application of unemployment benefits. If you cannot acquire a freezer for meat, remember that pressure canning is an option. Alternative food sources include Asian supply stores, Amish and Mennonite stores, restaurant supply stores, and local farmers. You can form groups to buy direct and process live. If you need medical supplies, check out midwife and veterinarian supply stores on the internet or bearindependent.com. If you cannot obtain seed in your area, plant your pantry. Dry beans, seeds found inside of ripe vegetables, potatoes that have been left to sprout eyes, and so forth. Scams, hackings, and impersonations and viral misinformation abound. Stay aware. Stay politically vigilant and contact your representatives. Keep HR 5717 and S3254 on your radar and contact your representatives. Support medical care workers and small businesses. They are bearing the brunt of this and could really use your encouragement. Also, I want to let you guys know we have letters from 3 officers. We have a deputy sheriff in Utah, a sheriff's deputy in New York, and a deputy sheriff in Texas. I'm going to read those 3 letters to you when we finish the report. So stay tuned. We've got here hashtag bear thumbs. Do you even dexterity, bro? Silver linings. You know what? Before we begin silver linings, let's tabulate the threat matrix for today. 3, 7, 12. 7 and, I'm sorry, 7. That's 14, 15, 16, 17, 5, 7, 8, 10, 14, 5, 7, 10, 5, 4, 8. We've got 4, 7, 10, 6, 7, 11, 13, 15, 19, 8, 11, 13, 4, 8, 13, 16, 18. And so if we had to look at what are we going to be the most concerned about, snapshot in time right now, Memorial Day 2020, 25 May, what are our biggest issues? We'd have to say economic collapse and civil unrest predicated on the government and the system. That kind of sucks. All this kind of sucks. But if we're actually going to move into practical, applicable, actionable, what does this mean? If the government and the system have put us in a position where we are seriously concerned about economic crisis and civil unrest, to say nothing of war, food scarcity, and disinformation, we need to become as independent from the system and the government as we can be. That's why this channel is called Bear Independent, because I'm Bear and I'm trying to document for y'all our quest to be as independent from the broken, fragile system as possible. That when the world is melting, I have said that this is my goal. When the world ends, I want somebody to have to come to my house a couple weeks later. Hey man, you in there? Yeah, what's up, bro? Hey, dude, the world ended. What? No way. Yeah, man, like shit's on fire and people be fighting and all kinds of crazy stuff. Wow, I had no idea. That's my goal. Wow, I had no idea. Are we there yet? No. We're not even close to that, but that's what we're striving for. And the more we strive in that direction, the more independent from the broken, fragile system we become, the less this matters. This becomes an interesting talking point, not something that keeps us up at night, gives us acid reflux and anxiety and pain and angst and suffering. It's one less thing. And so the incredible thing about preparedness is basic preparedness addresses all of this. Have your food storage squared away. Learn how to grow food. Talk to your neighbors. Develop a local network. Really, a local network. Do an area study. Who's in your area? Who are the good people? Who are the bad people? Get some water storage. Figure out your disaster response plan. Basic stuff. Have your personal security squared away. I mean, I'm at my office right now and security's not an issue, right? Basic preparedness addresses all of this. And so the more prepared you can become, the less of a threat this is. So the government.gov and the system related to economic collapse and civil unrest, snapshot in time, 25 May 2020. That's the threat matrix today. Now, silver linings. Quote, I wanted to say thank you. 5 weeks ago, I ordered half a beef and a lamb from a local butcher. I picked it up last week and have been freeze drying and pressure canning all but the best cuts. So we will have a year's worth of shelf-stable meat by mid-June. I would not have ordered this as I still had meat from last year in the freezer, but you put a fire under my butt and I ordered it. So grateful as they are no longer taking orders at the butcher. I got my garden in, figured out how to purify our creek water and rounded out the first aid supplies. That is awesome. Bless you, brother. Keep doing the things. A contributor has 1,000 pounds of rice and wheat stored and has a meal a day stored for a year. That is awesome. Several people have noted that this pandemic has enabled them to have open-minded conversations with friends, family, and coworkers. They have been able to help teach others how to prepare and care for their families. Awesome. One viewer notes that he had to buy half a beef from 2 separate ranchers because they had so many orders from the public, neither had an entire beef to sell. People are stepping up and connecting with their farmers. That is awesome. Also, with your intel at bearindependent.com, more silver linings, please. I love the silver linings. It makes doing the entirety of the report a viable thing for me because I in no way want to get up here and fearmonger and doomer porn with y'all 5 days a week. Here's another example of the world having gone to hell in a handbasket and now we all need to, oh my gosh, the world's gonna end. No, I don't want to do that. I want to share these silver linings with you. I want to shine light on the good things that are coming out of this. The productive steps forward. People learning how to take personal responsibility for themselves and their loved ones and their community. Operating from positions of strength. Being so squared away themselves that they can get other people around them squared away and help lift up other people. So please, silver linings. Notes. To all officers who responded to us, the viewers have asked us to send you their appreciation and support in response to your letters. Thank you. You can find local food resources and like-minded groups at the forums at bearindependent.com. Yes, that's right, the forums. Local food resources and like-minded groups. Bear, is there anybody in East Overshoe, Indiana? I have no idea. Don't make me the stumbling block. Go to the forums and ask there, because I don't know. Where can I buy wheat in Saskatchewan? You know who knows? The forums know. Go check out the forums at Bear Independent. If you're new to preparedness, welcome. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Please check out the Prepper Classroom. That's a free playlist here on YouTube. from soup to nuts, everything you need to know starting at episode 1, what is preparedness, okay? And if you like it so much that you just gotta own it, you can get that on a thumb drive at the store at bearindependent.com. Not only is that there, patches, hats, t-shirts, stickers, including the Whiskey Alpha Romeo t-shirt, blowout kits, stomp bags, bro, hold on, all the stomp bags. I make a couple of these for myself for Grindstone Ministries so we can go deploy to like ransacked area of the world and be the hands and feet of our Messiah. And then y'all are like, Bear, can I please for make me nice bag of stomp, please? All of you. And so we've been making these nonstop now. Bless y'all. You're awesome. And I'm not a little fella, and this is kind of difficult to lift because it is jam-packed with life-saving equipment. STOMP stands for SEAL Team Operational Medical Pack because everything has to have a cool acronym. But it's essentially a hospital on your back. It's designed for a squad-sized unit, 12, 14 people. You could support out of this bag for a given period of time. I mean, it includes everything from basic trauma to minor field surgery to the administration of fluids, aftercare, transportation, the whole nine, soup to nuts is in that bag. Is it expensive? Hell yeah, it's expensive. It makes me cringe every time I look at the price on it on our site. But if you compare what's in it to all the other stomp bags that are out there, and there are more expensive stomp bags, looks, you know, apples to apples, there is way more stuff in that bag at a lower price than the most highest priced stomp bags out there. And yeah, yay capitalism. So you can get that at the store as well. What else is there? Support Grindstone Ministries. Please and thank you. Do it! You can get a $5 raffle ticket from Grindstone Ministries. You can go to the web store at Bear Independent. That raffle ticket allows you to be entered into the raffle, imagine that, which is a custom chest rig from UW Gear Incorporated, a bare minimum kit to match both a multicam and my blowout kit, an Amendment 1 Preparedness 30 caliber canned ham radio. They're the best, tremendous, believe me. Amendment1preparedness.com, the number one. A swag bag from Sanctified Supply Co., including this shirt, which I love. Stay humble and kind. Okay, I'm trying. I literally got to write it on my chest so that I'll remember. Sanctified Supply Co. They're awesome. Some Hero soap. It will make your nuts tingle. What else? We've got coffee from disastercoffee.com and an awesome bushcraft knife, one of a kind from Fleming's Fabrications, all for $5. It's over $1,500 in value, all for $5. And we use that $5 to help support our ministry, which helps support people who rescue and rehabilitate victims of human trafficking and sex crimes. So, yeah, it's worth a $5 bill. All right. Typically, this would be the portion of the broadcast where we would talk to our creator. But before we talk to our creator, we're going to read what these sheriff's deputies have to say. Hi. Now I'm reading what they said. Hi. I'm a deputy sheriff in rural Utah. We've had fewer than 20 confirmed cases in their county area served the local health department, by the local health department, I'm guessing. The state did not have a stay-at-home order, simply a request from the governor. A few bluer area cities and one county did make it a law, but in my neck of the woods, people were just asked by local authorities to watch out for their neighbors and follow the guidelines. Most of us country folk simply hunkered down and waited things out. The jail did release many drug-related offenders from jail after discussion between the sheriff and the local judges. Many of the real idiots ended up back in jail after a week or two for being stupid, and the judges either having warrants for them or just denied their bail to keep them off the streets. Deputies were provided PPE for dealing with people. Okay. That's sheriff in Utah. Sheriff's deputy in Utah. Sheriff's deputy in New York. As of 18 May 2020, the county's Director of Public Health had begun to issue orders of quarantine. These orders state the recipient must stay at home for a period of 14 days or longer, depending on the determination of the county health department. These orders are now coming out after we have already entered phase 1, reopening. I briefly overviewed one such order where no definitive end date was given. These orders have been passed on to be served by the local deputies. Majority of our deputies, including myself, have voiced our objections to these unconstitutional orders, but it seems to fall on deaf ears. The pushback from deputies is hesitant due to the county mentioning layoffs, and they continue to mention higher number week to week. My county has also begun recruiting and training contact tracers as of today, 21 May, which is when this was submitted. This includes deputies who work day shift, and the details of what this entails are not being openly shared. I wasn't even aware that this was happening until today when a coworker informed me that he had gone through the training. This is of great concern to me as unconstitutional measures have already been taken. I find myself concerned, and many officers in my area fear what may come next, as this is not what any of us signed up to do. This is not protecting and serving at this point. Well, sir, I would simply state, honor your oath to protect and defend the Constitution of these United States of America. Listen, man, county layoffs, I've had more jobs than I've got fingers and toes. Do what's right. If you do what's right, nothing else matters. And I'm telling you, if you are a believer in the Most High, if you do what's right, He will protect and bless you. If you transgress what's right, He'll do the opposite of that. A deputy sheriff in Texas. We had our first COVID case in late March, and they have slowly been rising since. Our local governments both put out disaster declarations, but never officially implemented a shelter-in-place or safer-at-home order. The economic driver in our area is agriculture, as my area is full of numerous feedlots and dairies, as well as several big-name meat packers. This meant that there wasn't a big impact as far as the day-to-day routines for the community. Our fire marshal went around the city and into the county looking for establishments that were open and deemed non-essential. I'm not sure what enforcement measures the police department took, but I'm sure that they were called. The sheriff's office was not called for non-essential businesses that were open more than a handful of times. The few times we were, the conversation went along the lines of, quote, the county judge says you're non-essential and says you have to close, but do what you need to, and I'd call the judge's office and complain, end quote. I like that answer. This worked in one case where the county judge reversed the decision that the local recycling center had to close. So several of my coworkers have stated that if faced with the prospect of having to cite or arrest someone for violating COVID edicts, that they wouldn't enforce them. Good. So far, the sheriff has had the same sentiments, but I'm sure that there's several in my department who would enforce these edicts. Without going into a ton of detail, I can say that most law enforcement in the area has gone to a purely reactionary method of operation, only taking calls for service if the issue can't be handled over the phone. Traffic stops and traffic enforcement has all but shut down, and it shows. There hasn't been a huge overall increase in crime, but domestic disturbances of all types have definitely gone up. There seemed to be an increase in serious sex crimes as well, with several sexual assaults and incidents of sexual contact with children being reported in the last few weeks, which is why it's incredibly important to support Grindstone and support the demandproject.org, because perverts like that need to be dealt with. Unfortunately, we are not out of this yet, as we have been designated a hotspot by the governor and have been delayed by a week for Texas's phase 2 reopening. Our meat packers haven't been hit very hard yet, but we do have an ongoing outbreak in our local nursing home with several fatalities. This has accounted for our biggest spike in the area. Our hospital is not overwhelmed and has bed space if need be. It should be noted that our infection rate is less than 1% of the total population for my county. I can say quite a few of my friends who are not law enforcement are about over this whole COVID-19 crap. One friend is a cattle rancher, and while he is okay for now, if cattle prices continue into the summer and fall, he is going to be in trouble. I agree with Bear. 95% of cops are good cops, but I'm very disappointed with how law enforcement in general has responded to COVID. Who are we to tell a person that he or she can't pay their bills, feed their families, or keep their employees paid and thus fed? We are essential employees. I'm still making money. I haven't missed a paycheck, a rent payment, or a car payment. For me, life is roughly the same as pre-pandemic. So who am I to say that you can't try and keep a sense of normalcy as well? Who am I to say you can't provide for your family, that you must cease operations and try to get on government welfare? I've made up my mind. I will not enforce any of these unconstitutional edicts. And if I lose my job, then so be it. Ultimately, it is an easier pill to swallow for me to lose my job than to trample on the rights of the citizenry. Bless you, Sheriff's Deputy in Texas. Bless you. In my humble opinion, that's how it ought to be. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we have not spent 250 years whooping the ever-loving shit out of tyranny everywhere else on the face of the planet, with myriad men and women of the United States Armed Services waving this flag and waving this flag and laying down their lives so that we could just constitute tyranny here. Remember that this Memorial Day. How many lives have been given so that we can enjoy this freedom? Too many. And shame on us if we act like cowards in the face of this. If we act like cowards, we deserve everything we get and more. But if we act like men and women of courage and honor and integrity and simply say, no, I'm not doing that and you can't make me, then we might aspire to live with the ideals that are embodied by this and by this, that too many of our brothers and sisters have fought and fallen in defense of. Let's pray. Father Yahweh, my Elohim, Father God, thank you and bless you. You tell us in Exodus 15 that you are a warrior. Father, I thank you for warriors. I thank you for the warrior spirit. Father, I pray that we would do our broken best to honor everybody who has fallen before us and to remember them, to honor their commitment and their sacrifice to these American ideals that we hold so dear, that are created by you and codified and protected by our Constitution. Father, thank you for the opportunity to do this. Thank you for this time, and we ordain it to you. And I ask that you'd be sovereign over this, that you would use these words for your will, that whatever it is that you will would be accomplished. And thank you for using busted up, broken POSs like me to serve your kingdom. Father, if there's anything within the sound of my voice that's not of you, I rebuke it in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach and command it to flee. I pray that you would fill us up with your Ruach HaKodesh, your Holy Spirit, that you'd be indwelt in us, that we would wield power and authority and love and conviction and mercy on behalf of you, that we would serve your kingdom and do many mighty works in your name, Father. I pray that you'd minister to us, that you'd put your hand on the uncertainty and the angst and the pain and the anger and the hatred and the hurt. That you lift it from us. You'd give us the peace that surpasses all understanding. That we would remember or perhaps discover why it is that we were fearfully and wonderfully created in your image in the first place. That you'd speak truth into our hearts, that you would continue to steward us. Just walk with us. That you'd be our Father and that we would be your sons. I just pray your mercy on everybody you've already called home in defense of this great nation. Father, thank you. In Yeshua's name. Amen. It's an emotional roller coaster every time we do this, y'all. Thank you for being along for the ride. Really. Thank you. Y'all have a blessed Memorial Day. Shalom.